Cowboys.
You're right. Throws it down the field. It's caught at the 10, and this game is over. The Cowboys win it. C.D. Lamb.
The play on the timeout. This was it, Jim. You asked.
The Dodgers are going to shift.
Offering to Rosario. Line drive.
That is through. It gets through. Here comes Dansby. Lightning strikes twice, and the Braves walk it off. This is unbelievable. And the Braves win it, and they go up 2-0 in the.
Welcome to Interesting to See, your daily sports podcast about news, narratives, takes, and gambling. The Dallas Cowboys walk off in New England, and the Atlanta Braves walk off in Atlanta. The Braves now lead the NLCS 2-0. Haha, that's a British term. And the Cowboys are one of the best teams in professional football, inarguably. We're going to get to all our NFL and college football action. 2 weeks ago was the best week of football that I can remember in quite some time, and we paid for it this week because the football was trash. Our top story today, however, is trash-ass chicken shit fanery. So let's start with, I don't know, I can't decide which one's worse. There's one of them is definitely scarier, so I guess we'll start with the one that's worse. Last night in Sunday Night Football, a linebacker named Darrell Taylor was trying to clean up a tackle, and he had his head and his spine parallel to the ground, and he appears to have suffered a very serious neck injury. People were silent on the field for a long time. Ben Roethlisberger at one point approached Pete Carroll. While this was happening, while your quarterback in your home stadium in Pittsburgh was approaching Pete Carroll and turning to the fans and telling them to shut up, the fans were doing the wave. Like, there's a cart on the field and people are kneeling and there's like crying, and the Pittsburgh fans did the wave. I would rank Pittsburgh fans as a fan base, as a city, in the top 5 to top 10 of some of the most annoying, but I thought that I would say that they were the worst. That is classless crap. I remember very distinctly one time being in a student section at Ole Miss, and it looked like Johnny Manziel tweaked his knee and everybody cheered. Well, some people cheered, but then all of the girls were like, "Hey, shut up, we don't do that here." And I thought, "Oh, that's a knee injury, and that's the Heisman," and like, we're being a little drunk and we're 20. To do the wave while a man is like, we're trying to make sure he's going to live and walk, man, that is just classless garbage from Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh wins the game. We'll talk about that later in overtime. And then let's play the clip from Ole Miss, Tennessee. Here we go.
Ole Miss having a
I'm going to tell you guys right now, I'm on the Ole Miss sideline. I would not let my team be down here anymore. My team would not be on this sideline if I was down here.
What kind of parameters
Unbelievable.
are in place for just ending the game and taking him off the field? While he was talking with the officials.
Right here, Lane Kiffin gets hit with a golf ball.
Whoop.
Yeah, he kept that golf ball. Unbelievable stuff from Tennessee right there. So what happened was, and there was some bad officiating in the game. There was a sack, and they called the quarterback in the grasp, and that forward progress had been stopped. Tennessee probably could have had a scoop and score. So the fans were fussy all the time. And then remember, Lane Kiffin was the former head coach of Tennessee. He then went to USC and the Raiders, and then at Alabama. He kicked Tennessee's ass for years at Alabama as the offensive coordinator. And now he's at Ole Miss. So this is years and years and years of frustration of, oh no, did we fire this guy that's actually a good coach? The call that got the fans upset was there was a 4th and 24, and Tennessee seemed to gain 23.8 yards. And on the replay, it didn't. There was no definitive evidence that he made the line to gain or that he didn't. The refs ruled him short, and that's the ballgame. And we've all been there. The fact that does Tennessee think they get screwed more than anybody else? There was a 27-minute delay where the fans threw a bunch of stuff on the field. The band, the cheerleaders, and the dance squad and the mascot, including the dog, were led off the field. But then, this is the stupidest part. It shows just how rocky bottom it has become in Tennessee, is that the Vols, who were down only 6, had all 3 timeouts left. They turned the ball over on downs at midfield. They stop Ole Miss because Ole Miss is not a power-running football team. They're a sprint-running football team. They're one of the best rush offenses in the country, but they don't line up with a fullback and tight ends and run between the tackles. Tennessee stopped them, timeout, and now with like 35 seconds left in college football, after a punt, they only had to go 70 yards. And this is after the delay. The fans are so stupid. The game wasn't even over, and Tennessee got to the 20. They almost did it. So after one of the greatest football weekends that I can honestly remember, where both college and pro was pure electricity from Thursday night with Friday night baseball in between and the NHL season beginning, one of the best weeks of sports over a 10-day period. This weekend was a dud, and Tennessee and Pittsburgh Steelers fans just bring it to rock bottom. Let's get more chicken shit out of the way, and then we'll get into fun stuff. This is from NBC News. Los Angeles County has demanded in a court filing that Vanessa Bryant, the widow of Kobe Bryant, undergo an independent psychiatric evaluation to prove that the leaked photos of the helicopter crash that killed her husband and their daughter caused emotional distress. So she now has to go through a psych evaluation. She's suing the city of Los Angeles because the photos of the crash of her dead family were leaked to paparazzi outlets like TMZ. Those people published them, and she's suing them because it caused emotional distress. I was emotionally distressed over Kobe Bryant's death. Shaq cried. The city of Los Angeles is going to make her go through a psych evaluation. I guess that's the thing to do with lawyers, but oh my God. This man was one of the great legends of your city. Just give her the money, you losers. Unbelievable. So yeah, she's going to go through a psych evaluation and whatever, I guess. That's just some more stuff to bum me out. Let's talk about football. Let's talk about actual sports. Let's talk about some football. Thoughts and prayers to Darrell Taylor, by the way. I guess I should update you on the injury. He is conscious, and I believe I saw this report. I don't want to start a bunch of stuff, but I'm just going to say what I saw in a headline from Yahoo is that he is moving. I don't know what that means. I don't know, upper body, lower body, but there's movement. He is in the hospital at UPMC in Pittsburgh right now. Completely motionless for quite a while on the field. Okay, so the Dallas Cowboys walk it off. I think people have to understand that the American Southwest is where football is played this year. The two best teams in the NFL from where I sit are not the Buffalo Bills. It's the Dallas Cowboys and the Arizona Cardinals. The Cowboys fought valiantly, despite their head coach not understanding how clocks work. It really is incredible. Mike McCarthy, he studied clock management at the school of Andy Reid clock management. He didn't know what to do, kicking or whatever. Dak Prescott is perhaps the best quarterback in the NFL right now. He's in the top 5, no doubt about it. They walk it off to CeeDee Lamb. Dak, it looks just incredible. This is one of those games where I think there's proof that the Patriots aren't what they were. Like, the quarterback position matters so much, and we saw it all over the NFL today. The Cowboys have Dak, the Patriots have Mac, and that's that. I mean, there's really not much else to say in the analysis. Bunch of blowouts in this week in football. I guess we can go through the scores just to talk about it. I wasn't going to do that, but I might as well now. The witching hour, which is a term coined by Barstool Big Cat, Dan Big Cat Katz, which the witching hour is about 3 minutes left in all of the 1 p.m. NFL games. And it's when things start to get crazy. And at the same time, all of the 4 p.m. games are about to kick off. It's like when there's just too much craziness and like, are your bets going to hit? Or are they not going to hit? This witching hour was the worst witching hour I can remember. There was a point in time when every single game in the 1 p.m. window, late in the fourth quarter, was a 10-point deficit at least. Most of them were much more than a 10-point deficit. Of course, we can count on the Minnesota Vikings to fuck that up, and that game went into overtime, which was awesome. The Vikings did win an OT, but then they screwed that up. Really hilarious. So we'll start with the scores just so you can understand. First game of the day was the best game of the weekend, probably, maybe. Jags-Dolphins. The Jags get off the schneid. They had not made a field goal all year, the Jaguars, and then they made 2 of 50-plus in the fourth quarter to beat the Dolphins. The Dolphins are a dumpster, period, fire, period. Don't hire Belichick disciples. I don't care how good they were this one time or how hard they fought. Don't hire Belichick disciples. The Dolphins suck. The Panthers lose to the Vikings after starting 3-0. They're 3-3. The Ravens annihilate the Chargers. That's a storyline to pay attention to. Oh, my goodness. The Chargers look like one of the better teams in football. 34-6. Ugh. The Rams play with their food, and the Giants, Matthew Stafford, didn't take a snap after 10 minutes left in the fourth quarter. The Colts destroy the Texans. Carson Wentz, they're gonna try to wish themselves into the playoffs, and then they're going to give the Eagles a top 10 pick. Maybe. The Chiefs, they were losing. We have a fun story from the Chiefs. They end up beating Washington 31-13. They explode in the fourth quarter. However, Patrick Mahomes looks not Patrick Mahomes this year. The magic is out in Kansas City. There's no doubt about that. And that happens. You don't stay that way you can't just keep running it back. And I don't care the offensive line. You can't run it back. There are people out there just trying to screw him up. And there should be. That's how it goes. So they don't look so good. He threw a couple picks. He didn't look great. However, his mother, made a point on Twitter. Randy Mahomes tweeted, quote, "Okay, people," all caps people, not all caps, okay, people, that should not be an interception on the QB. That should be a fumble or anything else, just putting it out there, go Chiefs. So what happened was he threw it to Tyreek Hill, and someone stripped it away from Tyreek Hill before it hit the ground, ergo it's an interception. You know what? I completely agree with her. There are two kinds of interceptions that are not interceptions, and if you were a sports agent or whatever, you would try to make the point that this is not a pick. Like if I'm trying to renegotiate my client's contract, like he had 7 or 8 interceptions that are not actual interceptions. Those are two things, and this needs to be a stat because this happened in the Lions game too with Amon-Ra St. Brown. Logan Wilson, quote unquote, got an interception. He didn't get an interception. He's stripped the ball from Amon-Ra St. Brown. The other one is tipped picks. It's not an interception, and it's not a takeaway if you catch a tipped pick. It's a turnover and a giveaway. And giveaways and takeaways to me are important. Did the defense get the ball because they outplayed the offense, or did the offense screw up and give the ball to the defense? And I'll give you an example. The best example that I can possibly remember is Nick Foles with the Eagles in 2018 driving against the Saints. They were down, I don't know, one possession. They were driving to tie or win the game, and Nick Foles hits Alshon Jeffrey for a first down, and Alshon Jeffrey just like one of those passes that goes right off your hands, and he was ready to turn and run with it and get like 7 more yards, even though he already had the first down. Pops it straight in the air, and it's picked off. That's not an interception. That's not an interception on Nick Foles. That's an interception on Alshon Jeffrey. So I agree with Randy Mahomes, but it's funny that Patrick Mahomes is the greatest player on the planet. Probably, I don't actually think that right now, but that his mom is defending him. Gotta love moms. Respect the mom game for sure. Oh, boy. Other tweets from this game were great. People freaking out in the fourth quarter when they were losing. Chiefs fans, man, they got high on the hog after being so sad for so long. One Chiefs fan tweeted how much money was remaining on Patrick Mahomes' contract as if they were trying to get out of the contract. Yeah, trade him. Don't know. So many teams out there would be stuck with that crappy contract. Yeah, let's try to get out of the Patrick Mahomes contract. That's effing hilarious. All right, let's keep looking at NFL scores. The Cardinals and the Browns. The Browns had to bench Baker Mayfield. They said it was partially because of a partial tear in his left labrum. So this will be great fodder for Colin Cowherd today. How much does your left labrum impact your ability to play football and throw the football? I would imagine a lot, but I don't know. The Cardinals beat the Browns 37-14. Let's look at the Cardinals' season so far this year and try to understand that, hey, maybe the Bills and the Cardinals are very clearly the best teams in football. Cardinals win by 25. Cardinals win by 1. Cardinals win by 20. Cardinals win by 17. Cardinals win by 7. Cardinals win by 24. Guys, the Cardinals are the best team in the NFL. The Cardinals crushed the Rams, who many people thought was going to win the Super Bowl, yet everyone believes the Rams are still the better team in the division. They crushed them in L.A. They crushed the Browns. The Browns have some injuries, yeah, but they have Pro Bowlers and All-Pros all over the place. It's time to start paying attention to the Cardinals and the Cowboys. All right, more NFL scores from the weekend. We said, talk about the Steelers game. Yeah, so last night and yesterday, there were a bunch of overtime games. There was a fumble late in the game. The Steelers win an OT. After being 1-3, the Steelers now 3-3. Are they good? Are they bad? Ben is super fat. I found this really fun graphic about how much Ben Roethlisberger has ruined the offense and just completely hoodwinked people into thinking he understands football. Everybody agrees, like essentially unanimously. There's not a lot of unanimous opinion in professional football, but there is one. I'm still saying football. I can't get over it. I love football. There's one unanimous opinion in that play action is better than not play action. Here's a graphic that was in Sunday Night Football. Since 2016, and that was back when they had Antonio Brown and Le'Veon Bell and they were rolling. Here are the Steelers' ranks in the NFL in play-action passes. So when they call a pass play, here are the percentage of times and their NFL rank at how often that pass play is a play-action play. 2016, 14% last. 2017, 11% last. 2018, 12% last. 2019, 15% last. 2020, 9% last record. 2021, 15%, 31st. Hey, 31st, it's got to be Jacksonville, right? I don't know if it is Jacksonville, but it has to be Jacksonville. Other funny stuff that happened from that game last night. I like this one a lot. You know, when NBC Sunday Night Football does the thing where the players introduce themselves in their college, and if you're a good player or a show-off, you'll say not your college, or you want to get a shout out to your high school or whatever. Jamal Adams, the safety from the Seahawks, he said, Jamal Adams, I'm the best in the nation. I'm trying to find the clip for you. That's what he said. I'm the best in the nation. That's what he said. On the graphic that introduced him, this is no joke. On the graphic that introduced him, it said PFF ranked 62 out of 85. I'm trying to find it for you. Well, it doesn't really matter because I did a really good impression right there. I'm the best in the nation. That'd be a great drop. I hope to hear that on a bunch of podcasts this week. All right, college football. We'll take a quick look at college football. So, Tennessee loses to Ole Miss. That was the most entertaining game of the day. It was fun. It was a rivalry. The Mannings, it looked the prettiest. Neyland was lit up. Man, Neyland, Penn State and Tennessee to me are like, it's sort of like through the looking glass. It's the Twilight Zone. That Tennessee is what Penn State could have been if they didn't hire James Franklin. They screwed around and hired the wrong coach. But Neyland, man, they were lit up. They had a great time. Obviously, they were a little too lit up, and they just lost their crap. Auburn beats Arkansas to remind everyone. Arkansas is one of those teams that they won some games that they probably shouldn't have won. They just out-toughed Texas, and they got ranked. And the coach of the team, I forget the guy's name. He's awesome. Sam Pittman. He told everyone, he kind of tried to pump the brakes and be like, we're not there. Stop thinking we're in the top 10. Stop thinking we're going to Atlanta. They get crushed by Auburn this weekend, 38-23. That game matters a lot. A lot of famous teams took bye weeks this week, and I told my brother who visited me this week, we need a fan council that can look at the college football schedule and be like, whoa, Michigan State, Michigan, Notre Dame, Penn State, all off on the same weekend. No, we have to figure something else out. Texas, were they off too? Yeah, Texas was off. Well, what are we doing? Like there were like 7 or 8 top 25 teams that were off. The big story of the day that Purdue annihilated Iowa in college football, and that was something that kind of everybody expected was Iowa would come back down to earth. Unbelievable. Baylor crushes BYU. They're not going to be ranked anymore. Good riddance to you. Alabama beats Mississippi State. State couldn't get in the end zone. They tried to hold their own. They did really well for a long time, but they just don't have enough good players to make that happen. NC State crushes Boston College, and this NC State thing is not a joke. NC State's got annihilated on the road at Mississippi State, but man, they're a really good football team. Looking ahead to next week at the college football slate, I'm going to be honest with you. Nothing. Yikes. No ranked on ranked matchups. Are you effing kidding me? Wisconsin at Purdue isn't ranked because Purdue's ranked and Wisconsin's not. That's hilarious. All right, we're going to wrap up the show tonight with a look at preview, or the show this morning with a preview of Monday Night Football. However, we need to start with this or end with this news. The LSU Tigers have agreed mutually with Ed Orgeron to part ways at the end of 2022. So they're not firing him right now. They want to give him some dignity, I guess, or whatever. But they are parting ways. So Ed Orgeron won a national championship for LSU, and they've decided that the situation had become untenable. Him and the administration weren't getting along. The rumors from the beat reporters are that it was off the field stuff. It was on the field stuff. They didn't like what the football team had become, and they weren't looking good. He went all in, and then he was kind of riding high on the hog, I guess. They just didn't like the look that it was. Oh, look, that's annoying. So they decided to part ways, and the really upsetting thing about this was that LSU fans' expectation is that there are reports that they're going to go after Jimbo Fisher, James Franklin, and a bunch of other people. I think that LSU needs a bit of a heat check. So if your bar is to win a national championship and then 2 years later they're trying to get rid of you, I want you to think about that. He has a better win-loss record than Nick Saban did at LSU. He is unquestionably, for the amount of time he was there, statistically and factually the greatest coach in LSU football history. That is inarguable, and they decided to part ways. And we'll see how it goes. He's going back to Oxford this weekend. It's his 3rd or 4th time in Oxford. He has yet to lose to the Rebels. Ole Miss, the heavy favorites. I don't know how real that is. Ole Miss can't play defense, but I think that's something to pay attention to. And Ed Orgeron, they're not going to find a coach that loves LSU football more. And I think that they're in for a rude awakening if you win a national championship and then things go sour. James Franklin's made it very clear about Penn State, and I don't understand where LSU, who the hell they think they are, man. It's not a great look. All right, let's take a look at the game tonight. Buffalo, Tennessee. Buffalo is favored by 2.5. That's low to me. Maybe a big Buffalo covering the spread makes a bunch of sense. Everybody agrees with me. Public betting is hammering Buffalo as low between 80 to 95% of some sportsbooks going on the Bills. Josh Allen is, in my opinion, the best football player alive right now, right there with Aaron Donald. I think the Bills are going to cruise in this one. Man, it's kind of a sobering week in sports and college football. The Dodgers and the Braves 2-0, and I believe the Red Sox and the Astros play tonight. That series is tied 1 apiece. Back to Boston for Game 3, 8:08 tonight. I'll be watching Monday Night Football. Like, rate, review, subscribe. We'll be back and better than ever tomorrow morning.